Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we are standing by another new tool that we have here on the property. This is our King Kutter fertilizer spreader or broadcast spreader. So you can use it for a lot more than just fertilizer, but you can do grass seed or pretty much anything that you need to broadcast spread, then you can use this for that. So this is just another step in trying to make our hay fields healthier, because we have been liming our fields, which we sprayed our Super Lime Plus on the field, and we have not fertilized the entire field yet, only some small sections. Our little pull behind fertilizer spreader that we had is just not cutting it, and you can't put enough in it to cover much area. And the design, it's meant to go behind like a lawnmower for your yard. That does not work in a large amount of space, and especially if you get over on a hill and you're sideways, it'll just flop over. We were kind of experimenting with the fertilizer and using that and have had good results with it. So now we're ready to go to the next step and actually go ahead and start doing the whole field. We can definitely see the improvements that it's making, and that it's going to be worth our time and money spent to go that route. I've only got 150 pounds of fertilizer right now, but I'm still going to hook this thing up to the tractor and take it out and just run that out over the field in the, like over an acre or so or whatever, just to kind of get an idea of how this thing works. I'm going to call tomorrow actually about buying some fertilizer in bulk. I'd called a place one time before. They sell it for $395 a ton, which is way cheaper than buying it by the bag. But I'm going to have to find out how I'm supposed to get it, whether I'm supposed to just dump it in the back of my truck and haul it that way, or whether I'm supposed to put it in a trailer, or whether they have these big bags to be able to hook onto or whatever. I've seen actually someone, I think it was actually another channel or somewhere on YouTube, but they actually had this giant bag that you could take pallet forks and stick through some hangers and lift that whole bag up, and you got it by the bag like that. I'm not sure if this is this way, so like I say, tomorrow I'm going to make some phone calls and try to find that out. But we are definitely going to be getting some bulk fertilizer so that we can utilize that, get our field fertilized. I'm, again, no professional. This is us experimenting with the ways to do this. I am going to use my bushings. This is a category 1 3-point hookup on this. My tractor is category 2, so I'm going to put bushings on the category 1 hookup. One thing about it, when this thing is empty, it's not very heavy at all. So you can move this thing around and manipulate it without much trouble at all to get these holes to line up. So like I was saying, we have 150 pounds of fertilizer we're going to put in here. We're going to go out and just do another small section of the field. At least we'll get this taken care of. I was actually going to use this in our little pull behind broadcast spreader for the lawnmower, but since we got this, then I'll go ahead and just try this thing out, see if I can get the settings and stuff adjusted where I need it to be. Also, I've already went through and greased the universal fittings on the drive shaft, and in this gearbox down here, I greased it also, and that should be everything we need on this thing to be able to get started. And then after just a little while, I'm probably going to re-grease that stuff, since everything is the new grease from the factory. It did have factory grease in it. You always just want to make sure that you kind of top that stuff off, or at least check it and make sure that you have grease on all your joints. So we've got our spreader back here behind us. I don't know exactly if the settings are right, but I do know that they're fairly close to what the diagram's saying. So what I figured I'd do is turn it on and start moving. It doesn't look like there's hardly an opening there, or at least much coming out, but there is an agitator down in the bottom of that, so it may kind of stir and force that out. But if there's not anything hardly coming out, I'll just open it up a little bit wider and go from there. So we definitely got to go a little wider on it. So as you can see, it's not hardly even opening up a gap right there. So that's why it's kind of tough to judge it. So we'll see what it does from here. So it's nearing the end of another day. As you can see, the sun's kind of setting. It's getting a little bit dark, but I think that was a pretty good test run for our King Kutter Poly fertilize spreader. Like I say, I only had 150 pounds. I actually did right about an acre, maybe just a little bit more. Each 50 pounds says that it covers 15,000 square feet. An acre, I think, is 47,000 square feet. 3 bags actually for an acre of that stuff is about what it should be, about 150 pounds for an acre, according to that mix anyways on the bag. So I'd say we got it pretty close to that. That speed seemed to be okay. One thing I did notice, that if you start trying to run the RPMs up on it, because it's supposed to be like a 540 PTO speed, but when you do that, it starts flinging those pieces of fertilizer everywhere. Those little granules start flying up towards you, and it seems like the lower you run the RPM, then the less you have that. But also, it's going to be not quite as far of a throw or as wide of a spread as what it would be if you were at a higher speed. So definitely, when you're using this, I didn't have them on just now, but I definitely recommend wearing eye protection because that stuff flies everywhere. So what we're going to do is head back down to the house, get this thing sprayed out, make sure there's no fertilizer residue left inside it, because even though it's a poly spreader, there's still metal components and that stuff will rust that. And according to some other videos I've watched, Ted at Everything Attachments actually has a good video on fertilizer spreaders. And in his opinion, he was saying that it doesn't matter whether it's metal or poly, if you don't clean it out, you'll be buying one every year because it still rusts those metal components down in the bottom in your gearbox and in that thrower. So we're definitely going to do that because we want this thing to last. Because the way we look at it is that's an investment for the property, and the longer you can make that investment last and not have to repurchase it, then the better. So anyways, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. We'll have some videos coming up probably of doing the entire hayfield and loading this thing up. It has an 800-pound capacity, so we should be able to only load it a few times to do all 12 acres of the property. So we're real excited about doing that and being able to get over there. And some of these places are kind of sideways, and we won't have to go all the way over to the edge where it's real steep, because that thing has such a wide throw to it. So we're real excited about using this and utilizing it to make our hay a better quality, produce a higher yield. Because what it's all about in the end is putting the money into your field to be able to get the money back out of your field. So if we can get our yield up, then we sell more bales of hay basically, and kind of recoup that cost of putting fertilizer and lime and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you click that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.